Welcome. I'm Sebastian Mahfood, and you're listening to WCAT Radio, the on-air wing of En route Books and Media, bringing you the dulcet sounds of Catholic wisdom.
Hello and welcome back to The Catholic Mama. I'm your host, Christine Mooney-Flynn, and thanks for joining me on this episode where we will discuss Advent, which is quickly upon us. It's just a week away at this point if you're listening on November 24th. We just have one more week left, and then we dive into Advent. We do not dive right into Christmas, although many homes on the inside and outside and the stores will try to convince us otherwise. So why observe Advent? Well, we'll get into that in just a minute, but let's talk about what Advent is in the first place. So Advent is actually the start of the liturgical year. New Year's Eve for Catholics is actually the day before Advent begins. Hold on, I'm going to tell you, if you hear funny noises, and I know I've said this on a couple podcasts lately, if you hear any funny noises, that is a baby in my arms. She looks like she's sleeping now. She just turned a month. She's been very nice and very sleepy, but if she wakes up and makes a lot of weird noises, well, you'll know what that is. It sounds like a pig a lot of times. All right. So the first day of Advent is the first day of the new year for Catholics. It's not January 1st. We get it about a month early than the rest of the calendar. And it is, just like its Lenten counterpart, a time of quiet preparation and penance and waiting. And what are we waiting for? Well, two things. We are joining ourselves to the historical Hebrews who were waiting for the Messiah to be born, Christ to come. And we are also waiting for when Christ comes back again. So there are two things that we are celebrating and observing here. And I say the word celebrate, observe might be a better word, because we don't say we celebrate Lent, right? It's an observation. It's a quiet time. And it doesn't have to be as serious, I think, as Lent is, because we are waiting, not suffering and death. But of course, we have Easter, and that overcomes all earthly death and sorrow. So, okay, Advent, first season in the liturgical calendar. It comes after St. Andrew's. It comes after around the time, I should say, of St. Andrew's feast day, which is November 30th. So it can be a couple days before that, a couple days after. This year it begins on Sunday, December 1st, and goes through the 4 Sundays, and I think that's the 22nd of December that it ends. Each week during maybe dinner time at your home, you might light a purple or pink candle. The first 2 candles are purple. The third is pink. The 4th candle is purple as well. That 3rd candle corresponds, the pink one, corresponds with Gaudet, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I think I am, Sunday, where you might see your priest in a rose-colored vestment at Mass. Gaudet means, in Latin, it means to rejoice. So we are rejoicing that we are so close to Christ coming, so we can be a little excited. It's a nice reminder that that we need it, exactly, that Christmas is coming, Christ is coming. But it breaks up the Advent season a bit as well. So we are waiting for Christ. It begins December 1st this year, ends on Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day, I should say. If you are, why should you observe Advent? Well, for one, it is the Catholic way, and actually it's a Christian way in many denominations, but in Catholicism especially, because we are so tied to the liturgical year, it's important that we celebrate the liturgical year, and there's good reason for that. Mother Church knows why we need certain things the way we do. We need our Lenten season to last a certain amount of time. We need our Easter season to last a certain amount of time. We need Advent. We need Christmas. Christmas is not just one day. And for me, growing up, there'd be so much lead up to Christmas. And I'm sure many of you listening, same thing. You'd put the tree up, maybe December 1st, maybe the day after Thanksgiving, maybe even before Thanksgiving, filled with all the Christmas decorations. Your house is decked out inside and out. You're baking cookies. You're going to parties. You're doing a lot of shopping. Rush. Christmas is here. One day, poof, it's gone. And by that point, you're so overdone on the holiday that you don't even get to enjoy it. But the church understands, just like at Easter, you need more than one day to absorb all the goodness that is happening and what it means on Easter or Christmas. And so she gives us longer than that. That's why we have the 12 days of Christmas. That's why if you really want to celebrate the Christmas season, you might all go all the way through Jesus's baptism, which is many weeks away. At the very least, you may wait until after Epiphany to take down your tree, say. The church gives us a long time to celebrate Christmas once it's here. And in the meantime, we need to prepare for it. If you get everything you want all at once, you're less likely to be able to enjoy it and appreciate it. But with Advent leading up, if there's some kind of lead up to what you're waiting for, you get to that point and it's so much more enjoyable and meaningful. So again, when I was growing up, we'd put up the tree right after Thanksgiving, might wait till December 1st, whatever. And then, just massive inflooding of Christmas-like activities that we got to Christmas Day and so overstuffed, so tired of Christmas music, so tired of the trees and the lights that I was very happy to just pack it all up a couple days after. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I haven't even made it to New Year's with the Christmas tree up. And also, if you're using a real tree, it could be a fire hazard at that point because it's so dry. So we rush through, very typical of our culture, and then we rush through the waiting and try to get to all the goodness all at once. But that negates what Advent is all about. And the church knows that we need to prepare ourselves, heart, mind, and soul, and body, so that we can fully enjoy and immerse ourselves in Christmas once it comes on December 25th and lasts at least 12 days. So it is important for us to celebrate Advent because the church has asked us to, and she knows best because she is God's gift to us, this church. So we should actually listen to what she has to say, and it's for good reason. So during Advent, what do you do? I mean, I'm not saying that you be a Scrooge. That's not the point of Advent, certainly. And there are plenty of feast days that are embedded into Advent that we can kind of get a break, not even just God at Sunday, but we can get a break with these feast days and enjoy the season. And then we also get to keep celebrating it, even until when people are starting to feel the winter blues into January. We still get our Christmas trees and parties and decorations and treats. So during Advent, what you can do, and there's still plenty of time to find it. And if you're listening to this podcast even after Advent begins, it's not too late to start. You can find an Advent devotional. You can do the St. Andrew Novena, which is a very short prayer. And I can, maybe I'll do a blog post with that in there. But it's a very short prayer that you're supposed to say 15 times a day, which is a lot. But if you say the prayer 5 times, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you'll get through it. It's just a couple lines. It's not long at all. And you say that throughout, from St. Andrew's feast day, throughout Advent. So you can do that. You find another devotional. I will be doing a Christmas novena, which is rather a longer one, with inviting family and friends over for the last 9 days, because novena comes from the word 9, the last 9 days of the Advent season, going from December 16th to the 24th. And we'll be doing that. I will also be doing the St. Andrew's Novena on my own. And, I'll invite my family to do it with me, but I don't know if they will. We'll be doing that's another thing. You don't have, if you find something that you want to do, you don't have to involve everybody, especially if this is your first year and you just want to test out the waters. You could do the St. Andrew Novena quietly just by yourself. Although it can be more difficult to keep on it if you don't have anybody else giving you friendly reminders, which also, if you're trying to do something 15 times a day, I would suggest putting reminders in your phone to pop up, because I think it's very easy to forget to do these things. So maybe put a reminder in your phone to do your St. Andrew Novena if that's what you're going to do, as the days can go quickly by. It is also not too late to start prepping for Christmas season now, but that doesn't mean to decorate and go all in on Christmas early. It might mean getting your shopping done earlier, getting presents wrapped now and putting them away. It could mean getting your Christmas decorations in a more accessible spot, so you're not grumpily rummaging through the closet or the attic trying to get them out in the middle of Advent, although then you could just give that suffering to the Lord if that's what you're doing. You could bake things now and freeze them for the Christmas season, but at the same time, you could also bake during Christmas if that's something, it's not a chore for you and you actually love it. You want to do things that you really enjoy as well during Christmas. You can also spend Advent, so you can do the stuff that you might be hustling to try to do. You can also spend Advent, so you can do the stuff that you might be hustling to try to do during the Advent season to get ready for Christmas Day. Do it a little earlier. We have that wonderful thing called the freezer, and we have Amazon that can get things to you quickly. So you can take advantage of those and prep now so that you can have a more spiritually focused preparation over Advent. And then, you can celebrate. There's so many feast days within Advent that are fun to celebrate, like St. Nicholas Day on the 6th of December, St. Lucia's Day on the 13th of December. Then you also have Our Lady of Loreto, the feast day of St. Juan Diego. We have so many feast days, and Our Lady of Guadalupe. We have all these feast days that are within those 4 weeks leading up to Christmas that you can take a break from the preparation quietness and actually go all in on the Christmas season, so you don't feel like you're missing out. And I understand a lot of people, they put the tree up because they just love Christmas, and that is wonderful. You should love Christmas. It is a wonderful, wonderful time of year, second only to our Easter season. But you also want to celebrate it appropriately. And so if you are a person who has been all in on Christmas starting in like November 1st and going through, and you really don't want to back off, or you think that you might want to back off, but you're not quite sure how to do it, just little bits by little bits, even if you've started going all in on your Christmas season already, you can still back off a little bit and do some devotional prayers, maybe not rush around as much during the Advent season. Give yourself some breathing room, pray more, go to daily mass, do something that helps you refocus on the actual season itself, that we're still in Advent, not in Christmas yet. And that doesn't mean that you have to take down all your decorations if you've already put them up. Just try to do things and really make a commitment that if you are going to continue to decorate your house really early and listen to Christmas music, maybe you could do something else that gets you in the Advent mind as where it should be. There's also, speaking of Christmas music, there's actually Advent music, and we hear it a lot during the masses leading up to Christmas, like "O Come Emmanuel." That's an Advent song. There's plenty of ones that you can look and find that are specifically for Advent. So you can still listen to your music, your holiday music, but it is with a focus on Advent, not that Christ has already come, because he hasn't. Actually, I was thinking about this yesterday. My neighbor goes all in on Christmas decorations, and he has up every day. He's out there with his wife and a couple of friends, and they are working on his Christmas decorations. And he hasn't lit up everything yet. I'm assuming he's going to wait until the day after Thanksgiving at this point. But it looks like it's going to be a spectacle, and I'm actually really excited to see it, even if it gets lit up a little too early. But one thing I noticed yesterday is he had put a manger and angels out in the very front, which is wonderful. That at least he's keeping the reason for the season right there in the forefront of his Christmas decorations. So he's got a big manger and these huge, 12-foot lit angels right behind the manger. And he was testing out the lights, and he had them on last night. And I thought that's wonderful. But how funny is that? He's already celebrating Christ's birth before it even happens, well before it even happens in the season. So it seems you're just rushing. You're rushing something that isn't here yet. Can you imagine like throwing a huge birthday party for yourself before your birthday, and then celebrating it for a whole month, and then celebrating it again on your actual birthday? It seems a little ridiculous. So at least my neighbor has Jesus in the front of his Christmas decoration, so I will give him that. So you can listen to your music, you can go to daily mass, just try to do things if you are a full-in Christmas person starting in November, and you're not sure you can fully celebrate Advent this year. Keep it in mind, pray about it, think about it for next year, and then do what you can this year to still observe Advent, even if you have already committed to the Christmas season. So if you haven't committed to the Christmas season, like I said, just prep ahead of time. If that, takes some burdens off of your plate of what you are actually going to be able to get done before Christmas, because you don't want to have to rush at Christmas time and feel overwhelmed. You want to be able to celebrate. You want to be, we have Mary and Martha. Mary's at Jesus's feet. We have Mary and Martha. Mary's at Jesus's feet. Martha is rushing around, getting annoyed at her sister and the world. You want to be more like a Mary during the Christmas season. So if you can prep beforehand, before Advent begins, and then be Mary at Jesus's feet throughout Advent and throughout the Christmas season, I think you'll really get the point of what Advent is all about. So the feast days that you can celebrate, I would suggest Kendra Tierney of Catholic All Year has amazing resources on fun family ways to celebrate any of those feast days that I listed before. I would go to her website, catholicallyear.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. Katie Bogner, also look to him and be radiant.com, has a lot of great resources for celebrating Advent, Epiphany, Christmas, the feast days, all of that. Homeschooling. I use her stuff a lot. And really, I mean, I think I'm going to just give you those two. Those are my two go-tos. So I will start with those. You can easily go down the rabbit hole. There are so many great Catholic bloggers out there who put out printouts. Lazy Liturgical is one I just found recently that I also really enjoy. So, I mean, there's so many, but I'll give you those three to at least go forth with. I don't want to overwhelm. That's not the point of the Advent season at all. Okay. I would also note, I am a relatively new Catholic. I actually just converted to Christianity. The first time I went to church would be, it would be this Sunday, 2 years ago, because it was Christ the King Sunday. And we went to a Lutheran church because I said there's no way I was ever going to be Catholic. I will not do it. So we went to a Lutheran church. That was my one concession over Thanksgiving because I said there's no way I was ever going to be Catholic. I will not do it. So we went to a Lutheran church. That was my one concession over Thanksgiving weekend, and it was Christ the King Sunday. And I thought, as we were sitting there, because the pastor gave a full rundown of the liturgical calendar, and I was like, well, now I actually understand. I can see ordinary time and the Easter season and all that stuff. And I was glad that she laid it out for me as we were sitting there, because that was a good first brush with liturgical living. So I've only been Catholic or Christian for 2 years, Catholic for much less than that. So what I have found, the first year that we were Christian, so 2 years ago, I did all my typical stuff. Tree was up right after Thanksgiving. We did our usual, rush through the Advent. I didn't even know what Advent. I mean, I knew what Advent was. I didn't understand the purple candle and the pink candle. I saw my friends growing up. I had one friend who was. So we did nothing Advent related except for the little Advent calendars that my mom always sends me and the kids. We did nothing else. And then last year we were at my brother's, and I knew that we weren't going to be home for Christmas, so I didn't even bother decorating. I think I put some lights outside. So this will be my first year of fully observing Advent in the way that I would like to, and the way that through reading about what the church suggests and reading Catholic All Year Compendium by Kendra Tierney, and I feel like I can do this now. So it is difficult, especially if you have older kids who hold fast to traditions that you might have already started. You don't have to get rid of those, but you may, as you think about it, maybe you can morph some of those traditions into new Advent traditions. We always went around looking at Christmas lights and singing Christmas music. And St. Lucia happens to be my confirmation saint and my favorite feast day. It's always been, even before I was remotely Christian. St. Lucia's Day on December 13th was always my absolute favorite. So I'm going to be combining those. We'll listen to some Advent music. We'll drink some hot cocoa. We'll drive around and look at lights on December 13th, and we'll light up our outside lights then as well. Personally, I will not be putting the Christmas tree up until December 23rd with lights on it, but it will not be decorated and the lights will not be turned on until December 24th. We used to do a much different Christmas Eve tradition, and this year I'm changing it. My kids are the oldest is only 6. He doesn't remember the traditions that I've already been doing over the years. So the tree will be lit and decorated as a family on Christmas Eve. And that'll be the first time, and then it'll stay up for a few weeks after that. But I think I have it all mapped out, and I'm also okay with any changes, anything that comes up. Our church, your church may do a waiting for Christmas party instead of a Christmas party, an Advent. That's fine. Add to that. You don't have to be a curmudgeon and not do these things that you would normally do during the Christmas season, but just pay attention to why they're happening, and if they're necessary for you, and if you even want to do it, you can say no if it gets to all be too much. You're more than welcome to say no. If you needed permission, I'm now giving it to you. You can say no if you were overwhelmed and simply don't want to do any of these holiday things that you might be getting dragged into. There you go. You've got my permission. Like you needed it. So, and I did promise in the last episode that I would mention some quick sibling gifts that you can have your kids make for each other. Again, my oldest, so I'll get into this a little bit because we're going to be doing this throughout Advent as well. I'm going to separate each child individually and work with them for about 30 minutes max on making gifts for the other siblings. Excuse me. And since my oldest is 6 and the youngest who will be participating is 2, I'm not going to ask the newborn to make any gifts. I have chosen some ones that I think are relatively easy and inexpensive, and but it will be fun for everybody, and they'll really feel like they're actually doing something. In the years past, I've just had the kids draw pictures for one another, but they would always give the pictures to each other either beforehand, or they would hide them in a place that I wouldn't find in time, and then nobody would get a present from their sibling at Christmas. So this year, I'm having my oldest make Play-Doh for one of his sisters, and we're going to put it in a nice jar. He can pick the color of it. That's, I'll let him do that. He's old enough. He can help me stir because you'd have to cook it a little bit. I'm having one of the girls make a notepad for her brother. The 2 older kids are going to be working together to make a little wallet with, I'm just going to they're going to help me pick out family photos, and we'll print them and laminate them. And so we'll give that to the 2-year-old. I think she'll like opening the little wallet and seeing her family pictures in there that she can play with. So it's a little play wallet for her. So we've got Play-Doh, the note cards, and the play wallet. The little one, the 2-year-old, is actually going to help me make Jolly Rancher lollipops for herself and her siblings. I'm sure she will. When I say herself, of course, there's no way after making these she's going to be able to keep herself from eating one. So we've got very simple little gifts that siblings can make for each other, especially when they're younger. I mean, you could also do like wooden spoon puppets. You could have a kid decorate like a pair of cheap white sneakers or a shirt. Oh, that's another thing. All 3 of the kids are going to work together to decorate a onesie for the newborn, for Marin. So everybody's going to do something that they're capable of for their age and their interest levels, and but all in all, it's not very expensive, and of course, it's more time consuming than buying a gift. But of course, making a gift is more meaningful. I think, especially at that age, they can actually they can attach themselves more to the whole process of making a gift rather than just picking one out. And I learned that lesson because of my husband's birthday. It was right after Marin was born, and I totally forgot that I wanted the kids to come with me to the store before the baby was born. We'll pick out a gift for Dad, So we wound up looking on Amazon on the couch and picking out a gift. And the gift came, and the kids didn't really have any recollection of picking. So intangible, just scrolling through something on a phone, on an app. They just really didn't get it. And I think making the gifts will help with that. And it's such a small, they're easy, small things. I mean, nothing should take more than, making the Play-Doh is going to take the longest just because it has to cook for a couple minutes and cool down before we can touch it. But all very easy gifts. So if you're thinking about having your kids make gifts for one another, you can look online for like sibling gifts that kids can make. that Google search will yield a lot of easy to make, relatively inexpensive to make gifts that you can work on with your kids throughout Advent. So I hope that you have an Advent that is prayerful, that you give yourself permission to back off from the holiday madness that is ensuing. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday thinking that it would be calm because it wasn't December yet, and I was very wrong yesterday thinking that it would be calm because it wasn't December yet, and I was very wrong. Apparently, just a tip, I heard a cashier say, to somebody, no, the Saturday before Thanksgiving is hands down the busiest day of the entire year. I was like, oh, well, that backfired. But give yourself permission to have a quieter Advent season. Say some prayers, a St. Andrew novena. Look at the Christmas novena, catholicculture.org. I believe has it listed out there. I can put that in the show notes. And then if you need ways or just ideas of how to celebrate a feast day during Advent as a family and how to celebrate Christmas as Christmas should be celebrated, I would highly recommend Kendra Tierney's Catholic All Year blog and her book. Also look to him at BeRadiant.com and Lazy Liturgical for print-offs and handouts. Family. I'm certainly using those for our homeschool month as well. And then when you get to Christmas, enjoy it. Be merry, make cookies and eat them, and enjoy the many days that we have to internalize the fact that we don't have to wait for the Messiah, at least the first coming of the Messiah, any longer. He has come. All right, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're in the United States, and I hope you have a very blessed, and quiet, and prayerful Advent.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
We hope you enjoyed the program and will join us back for another show on WCAT Radio. This is Sebastian Mahfood. Good day.